A lot has gone down since we have last been on the platforms.
What about the billions of people that have no chance for any health care at all? Many of them, if not most of them, brown and black.
We must question the true felt impact for the average black person in Canada.
What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations. 2018, what did I win? Uh-oh, I messed that up here, and someone's calling me here. Gotta do that. Hold on. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's do that again. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations. 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care, and being part of that team since 2020, we've reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. We're broadcasting live on April 6th. We have sun outside in Canada, but we don't have spring weather. So it's one of those like fool days. You look outside, oh, it's so nice and sunny outside. You go outside, woo, it's cold. But what we do on Sunday afternoons is we do Black Canada Talking, where Black Canadians give their takes, POVs, opinions, thoughts on local, provincial, national, and international stories. And who is the driving force behind Black Canada Talking? It ain't me. It's this guy here, Cesar Ndema-Moussa, who you can see is broadcasting from another location today. What is up, Cesar?
Hello, Dr. Vibe. Hi, brothers and sisters, and hi to all of our allies around the world, following the show, supporting us, sending good vibes, and being on the street, showing, standing up for what they believe in, what they stand in, and hi to everyone.
Good. And where are you traveling today? Where are you at? I know you're at a remote location.
I'm at a Marriott in Belleville.
Okay.
And I'm at the Marriott in Belleville because I like the gym in Belleville. But I'm actually here.
Ulterior motive, okay.
But I actually will be working at the Coburg office, so 45 minutes down the road.
Okay.
I mean, Coburg has hotels, but they don't have a gym. Belleville has a better gym. So.
And how was the drive?
It was good. My friend Terry Love online, kept me good company on the phone. We talked about many issues regarding, the Black community, from single motherhoods to, integration of Black migrants in Western countries, etc., etc. Yeah, a friend of over 20 years.
Very nice.
We are fortunate to have such friends. Very,
very nice. Do you want to talk about the short story before or after the break?
We can do it now.
Yeah, let's talk about it. One of the stories where you're not going to go a deep dive on today is this story about Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf.
Yes. Just give me a quick moment. I might find.
I have something to show.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I have something to show about it. So there we go. Got it up here. So if you want to talk about it, go for it, man.
Yes. This is a story about youth, violence, and racism. And when I say racism, it's not just because there's a Black youth and a white youth. First of all, it is tragic that a life has been lost, just as it was tragic when Trayvon Martin was killed and George Floyd was killed. In this case, a white youth has been killed by the name of Austin Metcalf, if I recall properly. Killed by a young Black youth, Carmelo Anthony. Anyone was a basketball fan can guess where the name comes from, of course. But this is very much a story of a society a story of America in the context, notably of so-called making America great again, in which online there is what we could say an online battle in terms of defending the Black youth versus those defending the white youth. Now, it is easy to see me coming here as a Pan-Africanist, a Black activist, but allow me to give credit to a sister online by the name of Kat Rose, Katt space Rose. I'm going to read what she wrote because, as much as I educated myself on this issue, seeing how he was dividing people, and when I say dividing, let's be honest, when the young white man, Carl Rittenhouse, killed people with his firearms, we could clearly see the divide between those overwhelmingly defending him. I'm not saying all white people defending him, that's never the case. But overwhelmingly, we know how the divide happened. So let me read from our sister online, Kat Rose. Carmelo Anthony and the truth. First, the facts. Carmelo was not an intruder. He was at a school track meet under a school-owned tent. He had friends there. He belonged there, period. The claim that one of the twins didn't know Carmelo, that's not just misleading, it's a lie. They knew who he was. That lie is part of a narrative designed to criminalize his presence. Let's be clear. No student has ownership over a school tent. This wasn't someone walking into your living room uninvited. This was a public space. Carmelo is a student athlete. The twins, Austin, Metcalf, and his brother, the twins were not even track participants. He wasn't looking for trouble. Trouble found him. But here's the part the media carefully edits out. The twins did not approach Carmelo calmly. They didn't simply ask him to leave. According to multiple witness accounts, they attempted to jump him, and in the past, this twin, Austin, has stomped on and broke his phone and tried to take his things. A persistent bully. They didn't want a peaceful resolution. They wanted to punish, to humiliate. And there were known bullies, one of which, according to certain accounts, had harassed Carmelo's girlfriend prior to this incident, and on the day of, the twin allegedly called Carmelo an N-word, grabbing his backpack and forcibly throwing him out. Let me ask you this. If two young men, each weighing over 200 pounds, cornered your child, shattered the phone, and tried to hurt them, what would you want your child to do? Pray, run, fold. Carmelo is a small build, I believe 5'7", 150 some pounds. Carmelo defended himself, and now he's being crucified for it without the complete story being told. The media, ever eager for a villain, has chosen a photo of him holding an airsoft gun, a toy, not a weapon, not a crime. But in this age of dog whistle journalism, a brown boy with a toy gun is all it takes to rewrite a narrative to shift sympathy away from a victim and towards aggressors. This is more than a misrepresentation, it's a character assassination. So who is Carmelo? A young man with a 4.0 GPA, a respectful student with multiple college offers, a kid with no criminal record, not even a blemish. A son raised by parents who taught him dignity, discipline, and the difference between right and wrong. Yet here we are, watching his future hang in the balance, judged not by his actions, but by the convenient fictions peddled by those who should know better. Yes, a life was lost, and that is heartbreaking. Also heartbreaking is watching a young man be vilified for surviving a violent assault. What's heartbreaking is the media's instinct to criminalize Black boys before they're even heard, to choose the spectacle over the truth. And make no mistake, this is because this isn't just about Carmelo, it's about every Black child forced to be twice as perfect to get half as much grace. We owe Carmelo more than silence. We owe him the truth. Justice isn't just about punishment, it's about perspective. It's about fairness. It's about refusing to let fear or bias write our stories for us. It's not about picking a side, it's simply about allowing the truth to come out and ensuring that each side receives the justice they deserve. With that in mind, his side is just as valuable and deserving to be told. I had, this is Sister Catworth's writing still, I had to sift through a great deal of rhetoric to draft this, pulling from multiple media outlets that are largely sharing only one narrative. And absolutely, it is important to remember Darlene Ruth killed Black people in a Black church he was welcomed in. Kyle Rittenhouse claimed self-defense going on his own armed to a protest that did not concern him but intend to kill. Do I need to remind our people, sisters, brothers, allies, and those who don't even know about what happened to a young Black male, a teenager by the name of Trayvon Martin, when police even told George Zimmerman to let him be, and yet he was killed? We know what happened to Kyle Rittenhouse despite the murders they committed. What happened to George Zimmerman? I'm definitely not a judge. I'm not even a lawyer, but I know one thing. A tragedy has occurred. But this tragedy, and it's making me think of that Netflix series that's being very popular nowadays, Adolescence. This tragedy that has occurred did not occur just out of nowhere. We need to talk more about race, youth, and violence, but we need to hear the narratives, the perspectives of the Black boys, of the Black girls. Because it's notably in Texas, this young Black man, I'm afraid, will more than probably be found guilty, not likely of capital murder in terms of having a knife with the intent to kill from the start, but in terms of self-defense. However, if the same narrative that I just read had been about a white boy, I don't think there's any Black family who has any doubt the white youth, in this case, one of these twins, Austin, would have been found not guilty. This is the reality of the world we live in, the reality of a world in which a George Zimmerman, just as a Kyle Rittenhouse, a Darlene Ruth, and even a Derek Chauvin would have been found not guilty if we didn't have a young Black female teenager recording him for 9 minutes and 29 seconds.
Don't think we have to go any further than that. Great way to start off the conversation today. It seems like another perceived injustice in the country they call America. Any other comments you want to make about this story, Cesar? You've put in a lot already. Is there anything else you want to add before we go to break?
I can add elements. I've been sent notably information all the way from France about apparently police autopsy revealing that there was drug use noticed in the body of the young Austin Metcalf. But I'm not trying to vilify that young white boy as they do too often regarding Black youth. I refuse to do that. This is a tragedy. But in this tragedy, let us address the tragedy objectively and not just along the racial lines. But we cannot deny that race is involved in a justice system that disproportionately guilts Black people, men, women, youth, and elders, while giving far too often a free pass to whites. Perfect example, as Black people, we all know January 6, 2021, by a Black man, notably one named Barack Hussein Obama, it would have been a bloodbath. Not 1,600 people released by number 45/47. This is the reality of the world. It's beyond these two youth. It's beyond Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf.
Just to add one quick thing before we go to break, I saw a TikTok video this week about Barack Obama speaking in front of an audience, and he said, do you think what do you think would happen to me if I carried on with what 47 has done already?
Absolutely.
Think that's what he says. What do you think would have happened to me? All right. That is a great warm up. We are going to take a quick break. And when we come back from our conversation, we got more stuff to chat about. There's always stuff to chat about, but we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, Cesar, like always, is going to go all in. So we have Primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala.
Will some of these places stand up and say, no, you can't come to our country? Because if they set that precedent, you might as well set the world on fire.
Right. He literally wrote an executive order defining what womanhood is.
This is the times that we live in now, y'all. You can either be mad about it and make yourself sick, or you can decide what you're going to do with your life and make it positive.
All right. That's Primetime Saturday with Aisha K. Staggers and Laura Lala Key. Saturday afternoons, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific. Catch everything. Like their tagline is, they try to make sense of the nonsense that's going on in America, politically and socially. Some things before we get started. Please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And if you haven't subscribed on YouTube, we'd love you to. I think we're at 1,670 subscribers. I think it maybe more than that. Let me just double check. I've lost a little. No, 1,770 subscribers. My apologies. And it's growing because of great content creators and thought leaders like Cesar Ndema-Moussa. Also, like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I'm on. Email me at dr.vibe at the dr.vibeshow.com. And also big shout out to Indie Soup Media, which is run by our dear friend from Fort Lauderdale, Dr. Tachi. Independent Content Creators Network, about 25 independent content creators. And she has over 25,000, YouTube subscribers in less than a year. Remember, only 4% of all YouTube channels have over 10,000 subscribers. Check it out. And also, if you want to get in touch with Cesar, president at rootsandculturecanada.com, Facebook, Cesar Remy Emery. And just want to say something today. We are broadcasting on a new platform today. We are broadcasting on Substack. Yes, Substack. We are now broadcasting all things Dr. Vibe are on Substack. If you're up to it, please feel free to subscribe to my Substack channel. I'll get you the link before we finish. Just put it that way. I think it's already been put up in the comments section on most of the platforms you're watching live on. And want to say good day to Ron Foster, saying good day all, Ron Foster. Good to have you here. And I was on his program about 2 weeks ago. Good to have you here, Ron. And put in the comments wherever you'd like. Our first conversation topic today is something that Cesar is going to be attending. The 4th United Nations Permanent Forum for Peoples of African Descent. Cesar, give us some background and tell me what you're looking to achieve on this round, because you've been there before.
Yes, thank you. So, for Permanent Forum, United Nations Permanent Forum for Peoples of African Descent, basically addressing issues that impact Black people worldwide. And this session, so not only has, it's basically in the context of the decades for people of African descent regarding recognition of systemic racism, but also the conversation regarding reparations on slavery and colonization. And this year, I'm going to read this year's discussions will focus on 4 key thematic areas. 1, reparatory justice for Africa and people of African descent. 2, human rights of women and girls of African descent. 3, policymaking and systemic racism, a human rights-based approach. 4, artificial intelligence and digital justice for people of African descent. And before that, it's important that I mention that there was already a meeting to which I was part of Wednesday, March 26th uh, just a few weeks ago regarding the global launch of the advocacy of the UN Permanent Forum on People of African Descent on the situation of Haiti. So indeed, as we can see, uh, the continuation of the conversations that are already happening, but with a new flavor. When I say a new flavor, one cannot minimize the impact that one of our topics to come, Donald Trump being back in the White House, is bringing in terms of conversation on the fate of Black people, Africa, and what we can really call a rise of right-wing rhetoric and white supremacy. So my intent, I'm going there to continue on my what I brought forward last year in Geneva. In Geneva, I did address not only China in regards to, yes, supporting the United Nations efforts for Black people, but with the contradiction of having policies in Africa that some call yellow neocolonialism, aka China-Africa relations. At the same time, I addressed Saudi Arabia in, beyond the failed attempts at being chair of the Human Rights Council of the United Nations, really to, in the process of modernization of the country that, love him or hate him, Prince Mohammed bin Salman has been conducting, to have the courage to address anti-Black racism and that is really impacting Black Muslims, even in the denial of many Black Muslims. This is the weight of indoctrination, but that there is systemic racism, and notably, how many people know indigenous Arabs are actually Black? It is Black people, of Nilotic phenotype, aka like Somalis, like Ethiopians. They are the ones who are the indigenous Arabs. So I want to continue on that. And this year, as I come forward, so last year I notably warned that addressing issues of Black people must go beyond talking white supremacy in the context notably of Trump. But now, as we saw what happened in 2024, the year of elections, and how overwhelmingly right-wing governments either won the presidencies or won the governments, the majority of the governments, the assemblies, it is important that we not only have this conversation as per the four key thematic topics, but that we have it with an understanding that more than ever, it is not so much about bringing it back to the 60s and 70s on Black power and all that, but understanding that it really seems like we're going back to the 1920s. And lately, as Donald Trump has brought global tariffs, the last time there was such level of tariffs, and I don't want to talk too much about it because we will talk about it in our last segment, was in the 1910s, aka prior to what became a European war, aka a global/world war. I am not one to see the worst of scenarios. I'm not a pessimistic. I'm not an alarmist. I'm not how do you call that, an apocalyptic type of person per se. However, I am very conscientious of the fact that we cannot go at the United Nations and start speaking of issues of Blackness without bringing forth the fact that we live in a less liberal world, that although more connected, the divides are becoming deeper, as we're just talking about regarding race, youth, and violence, but really the divide. And when I say the divide, let us be honest. As I said in the meeting regarding Haiti a few weeks ago, it is important that we talk about Black topic issues, not from a lens of idealism or even per se positivity, but from a lens of such brutal realism that we don't just go there to be celebrated as some type of bourgeois class of Black activists. That is wrong. That is failing our people. That is literally just beefing up our resume with mentions of the United Nations. It means nothing to the reality of the Black men, women, child, and senior citizen out there who don't even know this is happening, and that people, activists, including me, are speaking in their names. We must not create a new bourgeois class of Black activists.
Thank you for the share as usual. Want to ask, is this the second or third time you're going to be speaking at the forum?
It shall be my third. New York 2023, Geneva 2024, back to New York 2025. And of course, hoping there are no issues at the border. Many people are concerned. Many people have actually canceled in regards
to the
Sorry?
You're kidding. People have canceled.
Oh, people have canceled. Oh, I was in a meeting last night, 10, 11 p.m., something like that. Last night, on a Saturday night, I was in a meeting. People have canceled. People are scared. People, because, look, I am from France, and a French researcher was denied visa due to his opinions on Donald Trump.
Yeah.
We have details about some Canadian scientists, I believe, or journalists. Yeah. So yeah, many people are scared because of the support to Palestine or trip to Cuba. I'm being told, etc., etc. So, but I'm like, I will always respect any of my brothers or sisters who, in the context of the cause, say, "I'm scared. This is a bridge too far for me. I need a break." No problem. Your mental health, your physical safety always first. And yet, I am of those who notably am of the belief that our ancestors went through so much more, so much worse. At the very worst, you show up, you denied entry, and you turn back, but you showed up. But I cannot be counseling because I'm scared. I mean, it's not, it wouldn't fit who I am.
Yep.
And how and what people know of me. It wouldn't fit.
Yep. And you take it, and you're always a person, it's bigger than you. Because if it was just you and your mindset, you were thinking about yourself, yeah, I could see you maybe not wanting to go, but I know that it's bigger than you, and you're carrying our people with us. You're
if I can put it to you like this, my wife told me how she was delivering a training, I believe last week, and she told the public servants, "Listen, my husband is a Pan-Africanist, a real Pan-Africanist.
Wow.
He would die for the cause. He has done things for the cause that is like, his brother is real. His life is about the cause."
Yep.
But she said, "I won't die for the cause. I have a child. My daughter is like," and I'm like, "That's good. That's good." Mama is like, "I'm dying for my daughter. I'm dying for our children. He can die for the cause." He's like, he's there. But no. It's about the cause. It's not about me. It's not about, dying as a martyr or whatever. No. I don't want anyone. We're just talking about these two young men. Why would I want this young white man to die, even if he's a bully? Like I was saying in the story of that movie on Netflix, Adolescents, and I mean, I'm spoiling maybe for people there. I personally love spoilers, FYI. If we have a bully, is death what we wish for that bully? No. We want reformation. We want education. We want addressing the issues that lead a person to be a bully. It's the same as the cause. The cause does not advance because people die necessarily. I wish Trayvon Martin was alive today. I wish George Floyd was alive today. But because they died, and in the way they died, and what have we done about it? We have grown the cause of social justice for our people. But when I say for our people, the truth of the matter, Black social justice is human social justice. Our people benefit including even the racists, even those who hate us, they do benefit. For people like Donald Trump who like to trash DEI, greatly due to ignorance, what is the demographic that most benefited from affirmative action? White women.
Well, and just to, we won't get into too deep, but did you hear about the gentleman who's the head of the African American Museum has resigned now and left?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So we talked about it a little bit on prime time yesterday, but those are the things that are happening. Those are the things happen. But Cesar, we'll say it now. We're going to say it at the end of the conversation. Safe trip, and our prayers will be with you.
Thank you. I did tell you this, Dr. Vab. When you say that, and I don't mean to offend any of our people, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in religion. I don't believe in love and friendship. I go by the facts. I go by what's concrete. And as such, I know I have friends. I know I can count on Dr. Vibe. I don't need to believe. I know. I know my wife loves me. I don't need to believe. I was attacked 2 weeks ago. I was attacked on the highway. Yes. I just got my car. Yesterday was Saturday, Friday, after a week. And some car, long story short, my windshield it basically looked like I got shot at. I do not want to jump to racism, but it is interesting that even police in the police report, so I tried to spin kind of a joke to it that if I drove a Tesla, I could understand someone would attack my car. No, the police was like, pretty much like I was targeted. And other Black activists, such as our CEO, Rich and Culture CEO, Ketia Peters, she did not, as she's mentioned, if you don't have the proof, you cannot dismiss that possibility. And I must confirm that police did not dismiss that possibility because out of all the cars, and it was like targeted. It wasn't like he would have been. There was no one else in the car, and I didn't get hit on the driver's side, but the passenger side. But when the insurance had me bring the car to Speedy Glass, the lady from Speedy Glass was shocked. She was shocked. She put it straight. If you drive like that in Ottawa, police pulls you over. You don't drive like that in Ottawa. This is not. I've seen cars driving like that in Detroit. I don't know for how long they got to drive like that. But I don't know a Canadian city that would have let me drive like that and police to see me without pulling me over. It was bad. So thank you, honestly, for the prayers, for the wishes. And, like I say, our ancestors, if we just think of our African ancestors who got kidnapped, brought here, sold as slaves, they didn't have a winter coat nor winter boots. We don't need to always refer to that, but we just need to remember our ancestors. And it's not about our ancestors centuries ago. Just a few decades, a few years ago, had it worse. So thank you. I take that to heart, but yes, my face is up and the fire is burning.
I love that. My face is up and the fire is burning. I love that. That's your motto. I love that.
I like it too.
Yeah, really. My face. That should be your tagline. One more question about this. How is your mindset different over the last 3 forums that you've went to? The first time, the second time, now the third time. And I don't want to, I really want to, we have other stories to chat about. We don't have the president, the boss lady. So I think I can get a little bit more out of you.
Yes, yes.
How have you approached each one of the forums, each one of them?
That's an interesting question. I didn't even think about it, but I would say the first time, of course, I was so honored. I was so honored to be going there 2023, after winning, notably, the Martin Luther King Jr. National Lifetime Achievement Award from Senator Jean Augustine, from being part of the Human Rights Consultant, International Human Rights Consultant, honored by the United States Institute of Diplomacy and Human Rights to be going there, I was so honored. And it was me going back to the United Nations since I was 8 or 9 years old, when my father had taken me and given me a lesson regarding geopolitics that I never forgot about. I remember what he told me. So my father, for those who don't know, was a university professor of politics and urbanism in France, and he became a lawyer in Canada and an international lawyer after that. But when I was 8, 9 years old, he took me to the United Nations. I remember a lesson that he told me about to never forget that the elements that have made whiteness so great and powerful are also elements that will bring it down in light of uncheckered social injustice. We're talking about imperialism, perception of democracy, aka democracy to the north, but ongoing neocolonialism in the south. We're talking about feminism, aka women's rights for white women, but dismissal of rights and equality for black and brown and other women. And capitalism in terms of the unequal redistribution of wealth. So the child that I was then didn't understand, but I knew, I remembered. I've been gifted with a good memory on intellectual matters. I was honored. The second time coming to Geneva, I mean, how can I put it? Yes, I was honored, first of all, because I got to speak. I delivered my speech, which in New York 2022, I didn't get to do it. Many people mobilized for me to speak, but in Geneva, I got to do it. It was very well received. Many people thanking me for calling out China, calling out Saudi Arabia, addressing even Canada in terms of putting money, but the mismanagement of funds, as you remember, that I have addressed. So here I am going back to New York, my third edition. Always an honor. A Canadian delegate of the Black Civil Society, yes, an honor. But the context is different. Donald Trump is back in the White House. There is pretty much white supremacy in the open. There is this context of tariffs / globalization, but also liberal democracies. I don't know how the vibe will be, but I can say many people will be nervous, notably nervous to speak their mind, and many people will be nervous in terms of, their family, relatives, and friends in the United States. As I also do have family, I have close family members who live in the United States, as many Black people do. But, and I will finish this, as I was just saying, my fist is up and the fire is still burning.
All right, let's go to another conversation topic, the Canadian election, which has sort of quieted down a little bit.
Yes, and I really, that's also why I wanted it to be a second topic, because, it's actually short, but I just find it interesting that we are 3 weeks away and we can still see the impact of Donald Trump on the Canadian elections, beyond the tariffs, but even addressing the leadership style of Mr. Pierre Poilievre, as reports have come of notably people in the PC leadership who are basically calling him out and wanting to vote for the Liberals. But at the same time, let's be fair, controversies have started to emerge regarding Mr. Mark Carney, controversies in regards to financial management of, I can't remember if it's an equity firm, but it's something regarding finances, but also even regarding his father's comments regarding indigenous peoples and residential schools. Other people have sent me, and I thank my friends here. It's not that I agree necessarily, but it's for me important to at least be aware I am definitely not a conspiracy theorist, but let's be honest, conspiracy one day might be the truth, the obvious truth another day. So we need to be aware, and we need to thank our people. Oh, I give him credit. He notably bringing to light the notion of replacing meat consumption, uh, ticketing, rationing meat consumption, and replacing it with insect eating. Don't get me wrong, nothing offending me, but more kind of a plan and a takeover of democracy and government. A lot of things that are happening, and of course, we cannot dismiss how the melting of intent of voting for the Bloc Québécois, just as for the NPD, NDP of Jagmeet Singh, because the election is so polarized between the liberals of Mark Carney versus the conservative of Pierre Poilievre. Truly, we are heading towards a showdown, and no, I'm not wearing a red jogging suit as any representation. I do not ascribe to left or right in terms of Western politics because, truthfully and honestly, uh, I can absolutely criticize both just as I can praise both. Ultimately, the question is the impact upon Black peoples.
Okay, Michelle Baptiste, president of the Cesar and Ndema fan club, says, good evening, good people. And look who's here, Ryan
Good evening,
O'Neill
Michelle.
Knight.
My brother
Ryan
Ryan.
O'Neill Knight says, greetings, gentlemen. Greetings, gentlemen. He is here, Ryan O'Neill Knight. Okay, he says,
I
greetings,
would
gentlemen.
allow me to answer when brother Ryan asked, can anything have the NDP? Yes, two things can have the NDP.
Okay, now let's go to the can anything help the NDP comment? Yes, go ahead.
At this moment, 3 weeks away from elections, two things can help the NDP. A major blunder of character from either Poilievre or Carney. A major blunder, the type in which, remember, I can't remember if he was, yes, he was in 2019, maybe 2020, during an election cycle when photos of Trudeau came out regarding brown face, black face, etc. Something like that could help the NDP. Another thing that could help the NDP, unfortunately, it would be the immediate impact of the tariffs by Trump, aka if hundreds, but truly thousands of people were to lose their employment, they could be voting NDP as a revolt against the liberals or even the conservatives, despite the race being so close. Those are the only two things that I can see. A personal blunder from Carney or Poilievre, or the impact and, I should maybe say and, or the impact of tariffs being felt immediately. And when I say immediately, I mean they're out of time. They're 3 weeks away. Now, in politics, a day is a long time. But the way it's so polarized and with the numbers so low, to the point where it's not even sure that Jagmeet Singh will be even able to win his own election seat. That is quite dire.
Which leads to another question from Ryan. He says, if they lose seats, is it time to change leader for the NDP?
Absolutely, absolutely. Jagmeet, if I'm not mistaken, this would have been his, I'm tempted to say third federal election, maybe second, but I'm tempted to say, let me just say second, because I don't think he was there in 2015. But I think it becomes time. No, technically it will be his third. Yes, it will be his third. I think it will be time because unfortunately, as we speak about the NDP, and this is something I would say that saddens me a little bit about Jagmeet Singh. He's stuck between, me and my English expression, the axe and the anvil. It, it makes sense in French. Le marteau et l'enclume. Between the rock and the something.
rock and a hard place.
There you go. He's stuck between the rock and a hard place, in which he is the Sikh leader, Sikh, S-I-K-H, leader, a far left party, because they're not center left. Center left is more the liberals. He's the leader of a far left party that is very unlikely to come to power. But at the same time, he has just enough support and votes, or he had, following the progress of Jack Layton. So when I'm saying unlikely to come to power, the tragedy of the NDP is still the untimely death of Jack Layton. With Jack Layton, they had someone that, as hard as the road could have been, they could have come to power. With Jagmeet Singh, and I'm saying this with much respect, much support, notably as a community leader, I did get support from the Sikh community here in Ottawa. But with my knowledge in regards to all the issues that we address, from politics, social issues, and of course, as a professional on EDI topics, equity, diversity, and inclusivity, far too many Canadians are not ready to vote for a brown man with a turban and a beard. Identity politics makes such a big difference for anyone who is offended by what I just said. Just remember that in the United States, so many people got upset at a black president, they voted for the complete opposite, who was not even qualified for the job. And they voted for him again. And they committed an insurrection. Canada is not ready for a Jagmeet Singh. But wait, let me be further honest. Canada is not ready to put in power a Jagmeet Singh as leader of the NDP. If there was a Jagmeet Singh leader of the Liberal or Conservative Party, that is a different story. This is why there was a Rishi Sunak in Great Britain, and that's even why there was a Barack Obama for the Democrats in the US. If Barack Obama was the leader of the Libertarian Party, we would not remember his name today. Because even Oprah would not have supported him, fully knowing, what's this black guy doing being leader of the Libertarian Party? When do we ever talk about the Libertarian Party coming to power? When do we talk about the NDP coming to power at a federal level? At a federal level. So this is pretty much the way I'm seeing it.
Ryan's going in on you, sir. He also asks, if Poilievre and the Conservative lose, would they also want a new leader after blowing this lead?
Absolutely. And furthermore, my brother Ryan, let us be honest regarding the Conservative Party. Andrew O'Toole, no, sorry, Erin O'Toole, Andrew Scheer, what happened? Lose an election, get the door. Whether you stay on or whether you leave. Erin O'Toole was a speaker, to my great surprise. Dr. Vab, I think I had told you how, was it last year or 2 years ago? I can't remember. As a member of the Canada-Africa Chamber of Commerce, Erin O'Toole was a speaker when we were at the Hilton Hotel in Toronto downtown, speaking for a French mining company. I was like, but yeah, you get shown the door. In this case, Pierre Poilievre, 25, 30 points lead a few months ago. And yes, absolutely, the impact of Trump, but also the impact of resignation of Justin Trudeau. Was it so much that people were supporting the Conservative because they opposed the Liberals or because they opposed Trudeau?
There you go.
It's the latter. It was the anti-Trudeau. After 9 years in power, it's the, oh my God, in French, l'usure du pouvoir. Power becomes
Power
the
corrupts power.
yeah, l'usure du pouvoir. He had been there for 3 terms. That's impressive. Look at Doug Ford in Ontario, 3 terms, three
Yeah.
consecutive terms. That's impressive.
Yeah.
So many people were more anti-Trudeau than anti-Liberal because remember what I said, Dr. Vi. Even those who are anti-Trudeau, they were not sending back the checks from the Serb. So they're happy to put the F Trudeau flags on the pickup. I'm referring to the Freedom Truckers. Freedom, DUMB. I will never honor them when I know our people, when we fight for freedom, DOM, it's for social justice and progress for us and our people. And too often we get police beatings and we get shot at. So many of those freedom truckers putting flags F Trudeau, they're being very happy to receive the Serb, aka COVID checks.
Well
So
said. Well said.
absolutely, this is the situation. This is the situation here. If the conservatives lose, au revoir, Mr. Pierre Poilievre. I see no other way.
Well, the debates will be interesting.
Absolutely. And for those, notably on the Francophone side, who talk or wonder regarding the Mark Carney's French, most Quebecers won't care. The state of the nation with, tariffs, but even annexation threats from the USA. Oh, I assure you, Mark Carney could speak English the whole time. Nobody will bat an eye.
All right. So Ryan says, thanks for this perspective. So we appreciate what you had to share in regards to that. Thanks for the perspective. All right. Our last conversation topic, and we've tiptoed around it. We're going all in now as Cesar talks about 47's Liberation Day, aka the end of Bretton Woods, aka the end of globalization. And if you are watching this live on the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube channel, we have a little bit of interactive for you on this. We're going to bring it up right now, and here we go. We want to know, what do you think about 47's reciprocal tariffs? And I'll just put it up here now for you as we get it up. And as you make comments, you'll be able to see them on, well, we'll put them back up on the screen, but we'll just show you right now what it looks like. And as you make comments, they'll slide down. So here, it's empty right now, but as soon as you make a comment in 1 or 2 sentences, and just put it in the YouTube comments if you're watching live on the Dr. Vibe Show, and we'll be able to show them. So Cesar, with that preamble, go ahead.
I cannot recall whether it was the Wall Street Journal or New York Times or whichever newspaper that had talked, or Washington Post maybe even, that had talked about the dumbest trade war in history, something like that. The so-called Liberation Day of Donald Trump. First, let me state, I'm not an economist. I called an economist friend of mine to get further perspectives, Erica Eiffel. I've known in my collar, but I didn't get to have a hold on her. But I agree very much with what I'm hearing, notably from economists as Paul Krugman, who was on the Ezra Klein show, but also David Frum, the former, there you go, Dave. You need to understand that Donald Trump talking about Liberation Day is basically signing the end of Bretton Woods that literally established the Pax Americana, the world that truly had, especially since the end of the Cold War, for superpower, the USA. A world in which globalization with neoliberalism, Reagan, Thatcher, Mulroney, Mitterrand in France, neoliberalism, aka globalization, that enriched America, but And going back again to what I was talking about earlier, lessons from my father as a kid, social injustice and unequal redistribution of wealth. Basically, the topics that, what's his name, Bernie Sanders and AOC, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, have been talking about. This move by Donald Trump imposing global tariffs pretty much on the world. I mean, Zimbabwe ending any tariffs on USA, Zimbabwe. But you want to hear something very funny, Dr. Vibe? 25% tariffs on France, notably French wine, a great export. And if I'm not mistaken, the USA is the #1 importer of French wine. Meanwhile, because we know how well Mr. Donald Trump and those around him are good at world geography, they're imposing 10% tariffs on Martinique and Guadeloupe. For those who don't know, Martinique and Guadeloupe belong to France. You imposing 25%, it's almost as if you impose 25% tariffs on Canada, but 10% tariffs on Newfoundland. So what, Canadian goods will now go to Newfoundland to go to the US to be only taxed 10%. It is a bold move, a historic move. It's literally, I think Donald Trump is getting maybe his biggest wish to enter history, to make his mark on history, furthermore than even being elected, definitely, furthermore than January 6th. But really, global tariffs. But global tariffs for what? What exactly? The trade deficit that gives so many Americans, and I'm saying so many, we know most of them do not understand global economics. You know, remember Donald Trump, I'm going to bring down the price of eggs and the price of gas. This is not something that as a president you just decide to do. There is supply chains, global dynamics in terms of markets, in terms of, suppliers, demand, producers, etc., etc. But the way that I look at it, we are talking here about the fact that an empire, because America, the USA is an empire, empires usually tend to dominate through the military and or through trade. Example, the Romans, the Ottomans, aka former Turkey,
England, back in the day.
England, of
Yeah.
course, England, the Greeks, the Chinese, the different Chinese empires, military and trade, and the African kingdoms, because we tend too often to forget that Africa had kingdoms and empires. Even for all that I dislike someone such as Mansa Musa, trade and basically, neoliberalism, globalization was arguably the best tool to avoid another global conflict, aka hot war, aka true war, because people had the best of interest to get along with one another, to the point that even when we look at the conflict of Russia and Ukraine, remember the conversation about grains, notably for Africa, in which commerce was also at the center of it, just as we can see now in terms of peace talks. They're talking about the rare earths and minerals of Ukraine as a bargaining chip. So here with Donald Trump's Liberation Day, aka global tariffs, it is the end of Bretton Woods, aka American hegemony, in the impression of trade deficits where America is being so much taken advantage of. And look at what happened with the stock markets. If I'm not mistaken, $5 trillion lost in 2 days. Those who are of the billionaire and millionaire class are losing a lot right now. But in the long run, because of the impact, from what I understand, I am not an economist. I would not want anyone to go claim that Cesar Ndema-Moussa said this and therefore, no. I am not an economist. I am giving my opinions, which I hope, are factual based on what I learned and what I read. But in the stock market are losing now. In the long run, it is the average customer, especially American, who is bound to lose, notably in an effort, the third leg, of the tax brackets to the rich, going back to reinforce the wealth of the millionaires and the billionaires class, aka more social injustice, more unequal redistribution of wealth. And this is notably why, beyond Doge and how did he call it again? Not the act, the chainsawing of federal departments. Beyond Doge, beyond the rhetoric and the attack on civil liberties, notably regarding immigration, LGBTQ people, this is literally the warning that I believe General Milley had given regarding a second Trump mandate. America might not recover. We are witnessing live. This is an exceptional moment in history. We are witnessing live the melting of an empire, and with notably China responding reciprocally. And even the economist Paul Krugman, as he knows Mark Carney, he had said it a few days ago that he hopes Carney responds to the measure of Trump's tariffs, not be passive. Canada also responding, and the European Union will be responding. We are witnessing to the melting and crumbling of an empire by itself due to one man. Not due even, I mean, even when you look at the Republican Party, a certain Mitch McConnell has suddenly grown back a spine. Some Republicans, I think it was 4, have dared to vote against King Trump, because I can't call him emperor. The empire is crumbling. King Trump, regarding tariffs on Canada. So here we are truly the world has changed. Brazil is the Brazil of President Lula Inácio da Silva is self-sufficient. Brazil, just like the USA, is a country continent. It's a country continent. Donald Trump and his those around him, that billionaire class, will want to reindustrialize America as if it's the 70s or 60s or 80s. We're still, when we are living in the age of AI, when literally we are seeing, I mean, we think about, as notably an investor, I'm also an investor. I invest in future technologies, notably regarding space exploration. I am involved, yes, in mining, but future eco-friendly mining. Donald Trump is literally trying to reindustrialize America. Yes, the biggest market in the world, but the biggest market to what point is already aligns together to impose reciprocal tariffs on the USA. I mean, the whole Roman maxim of divide and conquer works well when people don't talk to one another. But when people become united, it's just like we say in the street, the people united will never be divided.
Good points. Hello, Dr. Tachi. Dr. Tachi says, happy Sunday, all. And also Michelle Baptiste says, the orange man is clueless and oh so arrogant.
Now, let's be careful. Let's be careful. Let's be careful. We are in 2025. We cannot say he's clueless. The man came with a blueprint called Project 2025. The man has had 4 years until pretty much January 6, 2021, to get a taste of presidential power, but also the runnings of the presidency. He came in better prepared. And he came in better prepared with further motivation to the fact that he doesn't have a third term, aka the Republican leader, Mike Johnson, pretty much hinted to a non-possibility of a third term, which in terms of Trump could possibly happen if you have a big enough conflict that he cannot be removed, aka FDR, during World War II, which of course we must hope does not happen. I don't think we should see he's clueless. We have to look at it from a perspective, as he has said. The things he's doing, he said he would do them. People still voted for him. He is like me. I say what I think, and I do what I say I'm going to do. This is how people know me. This is how people respect me. So for those of his fans and sycophants, whichever way we want to look at it, the man spoke his mind, as Kamala Harris did say, "I told you so." And she was saying, take this man at his word. It may seem lunatic, it may seem anything and everything you want. I mean, I personally look at it, to give a plain example. Give me one good reason why one day Donald Trump will not decide to invade Greenland. What's the population of Greenland? What's the army of Greenland? What's Denmark going to do? There's already an American base there. Like literally, Greenland is just sitting there, like, and the question would be, will the military just agree? Because the military, to cliche, please, people who are in the army, I mean, no insult, but the cliche of the soldier is, I'm here to follow orders, not here to judge them, to argue with them, to wonder the ethics of the order, in the good, the order is the order, therefore I follow the order. Executive order, invade Greenland, make America great again. Boom. What's Denmark going to do? What's the European Union going to do? Did someone say NATO? What's NATO without the United States? And soon as that happened, bye-bye Taiwan, because if Trump were to invade Greenland, pretty much were to invade Canada even, Taiwan is next. Taiwan, China is taking you back. And forget Ukraine. He's gone. Yes, he did.
All right. So Michelle says 47 put tariffs on an island of penguins, and I believe another uninhibited island. Yeah.
Hey, make America great again.
There you go.
It's a historic moment that we are. I mean, I was a child when Madiba, aka Mandela, got liberated, the end of apartheid. I was a child when the Berlin Wall fell. I was 21 or 22 years old when the September 11 occurred. Barack Obama, end of my 20s, yes. Living a historic moment that, fall of an empire. There are many reasons for which an empire falls. The French Revolution came due to social inequity. The British Empire fell due to being too large and World War II, aka Hitler, having weakened it so bad. The Roman Empire, I invite people to study the fall of the Roman Empire, because even the very topic we're talking about regarding tariffs and the impact on tariffs, the Roman Empire experienced that, along culture wars and a depletion of resources due to being too stretched out. American bases around the world that's being too stretched out. The hypocrisy of Elon Musk with Doge, cutting federal government such as USAID, the Department of Defense, that's close to $1 trillion. Why does he dare not address that? And I mean, we were talking about DEI and competencies and all that. Pete Hegseth and all those people regarding the signal messaging. That's incompetence in leadership, grave incompetence in leadership. Go make some cuts over there at the Department of Defense. He won't dare to do so, because it's not in his own interest in regard to SpaceX.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, we are living historic moments. The midterms cannot come soon enough. And I'm saying midterms. We saw what happened in Wisconsin. Despite $1 million checks, Elon Musk and Trump lost. In
Yes.
Florida, the Republicans won with much less votes and support than before. We are living historical moments, my friends. But these are historic moments in which we cannot just stay and cower in our homes. We cannot stay silent online. We cannot just pretend that there is no impact. And by impact, I'm not talking just about our own bank accounts. I'm talking generations down the road.
100%. All right. We'll end it off with that because you've had a drive. You put out a lot of energy. As I want to say, as always, want to thank Cesar for taking time to hang out with us today. If you want to get a hold of him, it's email president, his email address, president@rootsandculturecanada.com. Facebook, Cesar Remy Emery. Cesar, have a restful evening and a good next few days. And we also want to say that safe travels there and back from New York.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Thank you, everyone. Sisters, brothers, and allies. Thank you. What is it again? My fist is up and the fire is always burning.
There you go. 100%. Take care. All right, everyone. That is it for today. Cesar. Great conversation as always. Let's do our leaving thought moments. All right. If you want, subscribe. Well, if you choose to subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, hit the notification button, like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. To advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I'm on, email me dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. You can watch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and soon Substack, and the Dr. Vibe Show at the drvibeshow.com. This is how we end it. You should know it by now. Do you know what I say? Let me tell you what we say. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, and wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember, don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. Try to do both. And as always, make it better. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith and walk good.
Just take a quick moment.
Yeah.
You just introduce yourself. Let Dr. Vibe welcome you into the show. As I told you, Dr. Vibe.
No. I welcome. I'm really good to have you here. I didn't want to. You were on a roll. I didn't want to interrupt. You were on a roll, but
in an award created by whites, dominated by whites, run by whites, and you're a billionaire, bro. FYI, I don't. It's probably the first time of the year that I use the word bro.
Yes, it is. That's the first time, as long as I've known you, you used it.
My daughter would laugh.
But for many people, the economy ain't great. There we go. I saw that.